Please be aware, in this podcast series we talk about all areas of safeguarding, which some people may find upsetting. So please make sure you're okay listening to today's topic. Be mindful of those around you, such as children, that you might not want to listen in. Hi, I'm SSS Safeguarding Director Sam Preston.
And I'm former head teacher and content author Sarah Spinks.
Today we are diving into a critical issue that's been making headlines recently, the exploitation of vulnerable children by criminal gangs. It's a deeply troubling trend that's been recently highlighted by leading child protection expert Professor Alexis Jay.
Professor Jay, known for her groundbreaking work on sexual exploitation in Rotherham, has sounded the alarm about the tens of thousands of children who are at risk of being groomed and coerced into criminal activities by organised gangs.
Yeah, it's a truly distressing situation, Sarah. Professor Jay's urgent call to action highlights the lack of a national plan to address this crisis and the pressing need for new legislation to combat the criminal exploitation of children.
Absolutely, Sam. Drawing on evidence from her review for the Charity Action for Children, Professor Jay has identified alarming parallels between grooming techniques used by sexual exploitation rings and those employed by gangs who ensnare children into criminal activities.
Yeah, and it's not just any children who are at risk, Sarah. Professor Jay's findings highlight the vulnerability of those from disadvantaged backgrounds or with mental health issues. These children are targeted, they're befriended and rewarded by gangs for their involvement in various criminal endeavours.
To address this pressing issue, Professor Jay is calling for the implementation of a national strategy and the introduction of new legislation specifically targeting child criminal exploitation. She stresses the need for a more cohesive and comprehensive approach to combating this problem.
Yeah. In response to these concerns, the Home Office has announced an investment of up to $5 million to support victims of child criminal exploitation. The funding will facilitate programmes such as a helpline for young people exploited by drug gangs and specialist support services for individuals under 25.
Yeah, it's interesting because while initiatives in Scotland aim to divert children away from criminality, challenges persist in addressing the root cause of exploitation. Poverty, deprivation and a lack of early intervention, they've been identified as those key drivers pushing children into the clutches of criminal gangs.
Yeah. Personal accounts shared by individuals affected by gang exploitation, they paint a harrowing picture of the realities faced by vulnerable youth. Teenagers, where their identity is concealed for safety reasons, they've described a life controlled by gangs where violence and coercion are commonplace.
And I know, and despite efforts by parents to seek help, that sort of lack of early intervention exacerbates the situation, leaving children vulnerable to exploitation. However, organisations like Action for Children, they are stepping up to provide critical support for individuals, offering a lifeline for those who seek to sort of escape that cycle of exploitation.
Yeah, these initiatives, emphasise the importance really of early intervention and support services and safeguarding children from the clutches of criminal gangs.
And I think, as policymakers and stakeholders grapple with this complex challenge, I think it's really important to prioritise, that early intervention, the holistic support and the collaborative efforts to protect vulnerable children.
And I'm thinking, this is something we talk about a lot, and it almost gets to the point where you feel you're sort of saying the same sentences again and again and again. And I think this is why we need a national strategy actually focusing on this, because only by addressing the root causes of exploitation and providing really targeted support, that's how we can empower children to reclaim their lives and build a brighter future that's free from the grip of criminality.
I think you're absolutely right, Sam. Yeah.